Alright, since I'm especially slow today, you guys get the whole process for making coffee while I do chess tactics. Let me see what I can do. Got my grinder, got my coffee. There's already a frickin' lawnmower or something outside, so may as well make some more noise. Who cares? Alrighty, and as for this puzzle, what's going on? Looks like black has a big attack potentially. Like, knight g4 could be fun and interesting at some point. Or even like knight d4 or something ridiculous like that. Wish they would like put a schedule on when they make noise outside. If the sound is obnoxious, I'll mute while I do it. Just let me know. But coffee must be made. It's in the title. I have to make coffee. Even d5 is a reasonable move if I decide to not go after, for example, h2 or f3. Alright, I think it's all nicely ground. I get the really good beans, so it smells really nice. Honestly, that's the whole reason that I do coffee in the morning, just because it smells nice. I am 100% immune to caffeine, always have been. I have no idea what it's like. Alright, next step. I'll try to do it right here. Because I've already made so much noise, you may as well see. Maybe even hear it. Thank you for the follow, Joe Kalug. Yeah, doing a mix here of waiting for this coffee to bloom and figure out what's going on with this puzzle. I was thinking about something like this. Like, yeah, there's a knight protecting it, but when we play knight g4, we're threatening rook f3. Like, if we could play 2 moves in a row, I think this just wins a piece. And material's equal, so that'll be pretty substantial gain right there. So if they play h3, I think we can still play rook f3. And if they take this pawn, I'm sorry, this knight, I don't know, maybe that's just a fancy way of trading pieces. Might be important to look for other options here. So let's say it's something else forcing. What else is forcing here? I'm not sure how badly I want to get rook f3. Alright, let's say it's knight d4, where I'm just like, you know what, I really, really want that knight. Knight d4. Let's say they play pawn d4. Knight g4, threatening bishop f3. Now if they play h3, I have bishop takes f3, and that wins the game, because I'm going to take the queen. This could be something. Could be. So knight d4. Let's say they take with the knight, or let's say they take with the bishop. I don't think it really changes anything. One of my ideas is like knight d4, knight takes d4, knight g4 threatening mate, knight f3, rook takes f3. I guess another issue could be that if I play knight d4, pawn takes d4, knight g4, they could play g3, so they don't have to play h3. If they play pawn takes and then g3, I'm cool with it because of bishop takes f3, and then they're going to have really substantial weaknesses around their king. That feels pretty nice. But if they play knight d4, I guess I should play pawn takes d4, bishop takes d4, and then knight g4. Oh, but then I just realized that when they play knight takes d4, they are preventing knight g4, because there's queen takes g4 now. Alright, first puzzle of the day. Usually there's some silly mistakes like that. So what else could be going on here? I wonder if I was being hasty with knight g4. Knight g4, h3, rook takes f3 was my main idea. Is there something else? No, I think that's kind of it. But if I could get in bishop takes f3 somehow and knight g4, that would be pretty cool. But I don't know, all this attacking stuff doesn't look like it's quite shaking out. So let's say I play d5. First of all, if they play bishop f6, just ignoring it, I think after bishop f6 I'm doing really well. So yeah, I think that's true. So they'd probably play bishop e2. I'm not sure that really did much. I was looking at like d4, but I get a couple pawn moves. I would gain a lot of space, that'd be nice, but I don't think it's anything to write home about. Hello, Master John. What's going on? Making coffee on stream because I was too slow to do it ahead of time, but doing puzzles as I promised. I've been doing pretty good, thank you. Very, very busy in real life. Yeah, it kind of does. IRL does always get in the way, but it's what we got. Oops, didn't mean to hit that. Yeah, knight g4 looks like a thing. I was looking at that, but I couldn't quite make it work out. I don't know why. Like, I go here. I'm threatening rook f3, but after h3, I don't know what I have. Like, if I play rook f3, they take here. And I just traded knights, as far as I can tell. It doesn't look amazing. Bishop b7 looks very important, yeah. I was thinking about knight d4 for that reason. Yeah, the problem with knight g4 is that they're going to play h3, though. They're not going to play g3. Otherwise, we'd be doing really well. Something like... The optimistic thing would be knight g4, g3, rook takes f3, I think. Queen f3, knight e5, and this is probably game over. Queen's hanging in two different ways, so they have to move it, but then we can play knight f3 because the bishop supports it. They have nowhere to go but a light square, and then we can move the knight wherever we want. So that would win. That's part of why I'm like pushing so hard to try to find something. Yeah, that's the variation I'm on right now, Master John, with knight d4. I just don't see the end necessarily. Like, let's say knight g4, h3. Rook f3, pawn g4, knight d4. Like, what am I threatening right now? I was hoping to get something like rook h3 going at some point, but I don't know. I mean, they definitely can't take this rook, but what if they just play like pawn takes d4? The rook is protected, but barely. I think it's just a lot of material down. I don't think it's quite working. I was looking at rook h3, but nothing really there, as far as I can tell. Like, they could take it with the pawn, right? And then I would like to bring the rook back from the dead and play like rook g3. So I'm wondering if there's some kind of alternative way of doing this whole thing. I was thinking about knight d4 to start, but, you know, they take it. They could even take it with the knight, like if they want to be very unadventurous, like maybe just knight takes. Or bishop takes, that also looks pretty boring. Key detail here, like if I play bishop f3, I think they can even play queen f3, because like there's no fun knight moves anymore. But they already took the knight in that variation, Master John. We were looking at this. Rook f3, pawn g4, knight d4. Like, in order to have knight f3, you need to play knight d4. So on this move, they're taking it, so you're never going to get knight f3. And if you play rook h3, then they can take it. And one thing that I was hoping to get is like queen c6. But they could either play d5 or they could play f3. Those are both problems for us and not for them. Oh man, they're starting with the weed whackers again. Should be on a schedule. I really don't know. Like, let's say I go here and they play h3. Do I have another move that's not rook f3? That was my main idea, but maybe there could be something else. Just gonna keep making this coffee here, don't mind me. Master John, you can't play both. You can't play Rook F8 to H3. I think that's what happened in your line. It's Rook F3. I was also considering something like Knight E4, although I'm not sure why at this point. Maybe just out of desperation, like looking for more options. Alright, I'm gonna let this drip out. That G4, H3, Knight D4, I think we already looked at. No, maybe this is the right move order. Let's see. So let's say we go here. They're gonna take this knight. And we can play bishop f3. That looks pretty good. Because if pawn takes, then knight takes. And we win. So they actually can't take it. I think it's probably good enough to play this. Alright, that was it. Awesome. So eventually we hit on the right combination of these ideas. We had this and this and this and this. Just had to go through the motions there. Yeah, nice. Very good. Okay, so it was the first puzzle of the day. And it was a bit of a tricky one in some ways. Although that pattern is kind of well known already. It's sort of like a variation on the Siberian trap that got famous a couple years ago because someone at some point realized that a bunch of grandmasters had lost that same kind of tactic before, and they're like, oh my god, it's a grandmaster killing tactic. But yeah, everybody knows about that. It's just sometimes hard to make it work. Alright, so what do we have? We have all the white pieces swarming around the king. Even material, and we have a couple pieces hanging. Although it's not really like the knight's hanging, because if they take it, we could always play rook h7, king f6, queen h4, g5, rook h6, king g7, queen g5, that kind of thing. So they can't really take that. Now I'm wondering if they can take this. So let's say I just play rook h5, just trying to go for that same nice scenario. They take it, I take it. Queen h6 is almost mate. Rook g5 is almost mate, so I think they have to play f6. I think that stops everything. So let's say I take, and take with the rook. It still threatens mate, but just in a more complicated way. I think rook h8 is probably good enough for them. Okay, so maybe I should focus on this. Chop, chop, chop. So the queen is on h5. f6. Queen h6, king f7. I didn't really like the look of them running away, but you know, I throw this check, they go here. Maybe we actually have a good move that I just didn't notice yet. I don't know, it looks an awful lot like they're getting away. Yeah, I don't know about this. Okay, maybe we take f6, queen h6, king f7, king h7, king e8. Knight takes f6, rook takes f6, rook g5. It doesn't really look right. For example, even if I could play rook g8, which was my idea, they could always play rook back to f8. And if I play like queen g6, they have king d7, the queen's guarding f8, rook's guarding f8. That doesn't look like it's really coming to anything. Alright, coffee's ready. Finally. Exactly one Coach Robert mug. Master John, that's an interesting idea, to play f4 and then f takes e5. But I'm not sure what f4 really does for our position, and they don't have to take on e5. I thought their idea is just to play king f7 and run away. So let's say we do just take, f6. Like, if I play f4 here and... Well, I mean, they can't play king f7 right this second, but like, let's say I play f4 and then they I'm trying to think of a reasonable move. Not that there isn't one, but just trying to find a good one. Well, what about rook h8? Like just a normal move. I think rook h8 is probably taking all the fun out of the party. Yeah, I think so. So it's too slow. So I kind of think queen h5 is not it, because, or if it is it, we have to play queen h6. If we wait even one move, then rook h8 is happening. So let's say it's queen h6, king f7. So their king is right here in our variation. We're starting with this move. And our queen is on h6. I'm just putting that there so people can follow along. 999, thank you for your recent follow and comment on YouTube. Just trying to figure out this puzzle. This is only the second one of the day, and they're demanding that we checkmate people. Right now we're looking at rook takes h5. No other move has really come up, honestly. In fact, if we're considering rook takes h5 options, this is the alternative, but I don't see how it has any independent value, because like they're gonna take it, of course, and then we would have to take with the rook, and that's the same exact position. So just by knowing that this is a tactics puzzle, we know that it can't be rook e takes h5, because it doesn't give any unique possibilities afterwards. The puzzle has only one answer. So, but still, like, it kind of leaves you questioning the whole idea, because like let's say we take with the queen. If they play a move like rook h8, we're probably okay. Like we could play rook g5 check, and they have to play king f8 and then lose the game after queen takes h8. But they can play f6. That's what's kind of annoying. So we're getting our queen out here. They're playing f6. We can play queen h6, but then they play king f7, and that's kind of obnoxious. Not desirable. So very unclear what to do. Well, anyway, if we move this knight somewhere, I think we just lose the rook on e5 in a bad way. I don't see anything really enticing about the position. If I'm looking for alternative moves, I might consider queen f3. This was actually the first move I thought of, but I got distracted. So queen f3 threatens queen f6 with the idea of queen f6 check, king h7, rook takes h5, doesn't matter which one, we're going to checkmate them in the next 3 moves. So they would probably have to take this knight. I guess that just kind of refutes the whole thing. It's a nice idea, but it's short-lived. Mr. Food Lover, welcome. I think we have to play rook takes h5. That's the only one that... I think it's the only move that makes sense, so let's just go for it. Alright, so we're missing a first move. I thought it was queen f3, but no. This move I ruled out because I didn't see a good follow-up that was independent from this rook move. So what could it be? This is quite surprising to me. Maybe it's queen f3 now? No, that was kind of rash. Wait, this is ridiculous. This puzzle makes no sense, because you could have the same position like this. Right? This is the same position. Alright, I'm flagging this as a bad puzzle. This makes no sense. How do I, how do you thumbs... Oh yeah, thumbs down. That doesn't make any sense, because you could do it in 2 different ways, so I didn't even really look at it, because all the puzzle answers are supposed to be unique if it's not made on the move. So that was actually a dud puzzle. Shouldn't be in this problem set. Otherwise I would have considered it more seriously. Alright, so this one, we got a bunch of targets. A lot of things are hanging. We have to deal with some problems too. What gives? Best move, knight d2, allowing checkmate. One move that jumps out is this one, but I think they will answer with a mate threat. They could probably also get away with just taking it. Like, how bad is it to just play queen e7, queen g8, king c7? Doesn't look that bad. I don't have any checks actually. Like rook c1, they'll just take it with the bishop. And, oh, actually there is a check. There is queen g3. Okay, this is actually interesting then, because I could win a rook. So I'm wondering what happens if they go here. I think probably my instinct was correct. They're threatening like rook f3 and all kinds of nonsense. So maybe rook g1. I think rook g1 is probably a bad move. I'm trying to explain why. They have queen h3. That's pretty bad. They also have rook f1. Like everything about rook g1 is bad. So let's forget about that real quick. Okay, I'm starting to think that queen g3 is bad news. Like rook b7 isn't happening, queen h3 is on the docket. So whatever move we play, it has to actually deal with the threat of queen g3. I'm just looking for moves. Is this really just a puzzle like to not die? For example, I could play rook e2. They can take it. I'm pretty confident. I take this. They block with the queen. And now I'm not losing. But I also don't see a very useful move. Like I have queen g3 check still. But they could block and take a perpetual perhaps. Or they could move their king and just keep playing the game. But with the queen on g3, I don't think I have real threats. Just not losing. Not losing would be really good if I had like 10 seconds on the clock, but this is training, so looking for something better than just not losing. Another best move, knight h2, allowing queen h2, or rook h2. Fastest ways to lose the game. Rook e5 just looks kind of dumb. Like, I don't know, let's say they move their rook. Doesn't make a lot of sense. All my ideas so far involve attacking this rook. I wonder if there is any other option. I don't think so. Like, this is protected. I don't have any moves that attack this rook, as far as I can tell. Queen g3 is happening. Knight e5 looks kind of like a Hail Mary, not really helpful. I guess I should just look at every legal rook move. Is there one that I haven't noticed that... Alright, so this one's stupid. This one we already eliminated. Rook c6, there's still queen g3. Queen h3 is kind of win the game. These moves are stupid. This one, not so stupid, but not good either as far as I can tell. Maybe it's an option. Like, I guess I can come back to it. Rook e4, I really don't see why I'm playing that. I think they would still play queen g3. Yeah, I can just lose in a fancy way. Rook e3 doesn't look good. Rook e2 is interesting. Rook e1, I don't think that addresses queen g3. So I only have rook e5 and rook e2. And are there any other legal moves? I guess any knight move would guard g3, technically. So maybe I'm actually just going to take this bishop. That's a forcing move. I should look at that. They can't play rook g3 because we have rook e8. If they play queen g3, I just get away with a free piece by taking the queen. Wait, is that true? So I take, they go here. Well, I could anyway play rook e. Oh no, there's queen g2, so I have to take it. They go here. This looks like it could fizzle out to a draw. I'm not sure. Anyway, that looks too complicated. I probably just missed something earlier on. Oh yeah, this knight is busy. Okay, so I'm actually totally restricted to rook moves. I'm just confusing myself by looking for more options. I think this is the only move that makes sense. Alright, now I'm taking this. But this is kind of dumb. Like, why are they hitting me with these puzzles that are just to survive the game? I'm not even better if I play the rook endgame. Oh, I think my mouse just died. Rest in peace, mouse. Do I really have to be a trackpad warrior at a time like this? Jeez. Alright. I'll charge that. Actually, give me 1 second, you guys. I have my micro USB charger right here, so get back in the saddle right away. Hey, this doesn't fit. Oh, it does. All right, excellent. Anyway, I just reached for my mouse even though it's not there. That's silly. Alrighty. Thanks for bearing with me, you guys. Technical issues. Yeah. So what was I thinking here? Just need to make room for my hands now. Yeah, I could take this queen. Oh, I see a tactic. I didn't see this when I chose these moves. I could take and then play rook a2. And that should win. Yeah, that wins. Easy. Oh yeah, I totally planned that ahead of time. But there's nothing wrong with getting things done by elimination of other options, so I'm about it. I think that was fine. Okay, so we got some hanging pieces in this example. First thing first, which way the pawns are going. Black pawn's going up, white pawn's going down. So I could take on c2, king takes c2, and then maybe king g8, then king very good, king b3, and then no, I don't really care for this. Anyway, that rook's probably gotta go. I don't see how we're gonna win with two bishops against rook and two pawns here. In fact, if I don't take it, they're playing rook f2, and I think I lose the game because promotion is gonna happen. I could like cling on for dear life, but no, actually I think I have to take the rook. It's forced. Alright. I'm glad I got that part right. Oh, the move in the last one, let me see if I can bring it back. I don't know how to bring it back. Hold on, let me check my profile. Don't they? I think they let you see your old puzzles now. Oh man, I'm doing great with quiet move right now. 2,900. That's ridiculous. I don't think I've even done any quiet move puzzles. That's probably why I'm doing so well. Puzzle history, yes. I wonder how long it goes. Does it go all the way back? Yo, this is great. I like that. All right, I'm gonna go back and look at this later on. I think that'll be fun. So the one that we just solved is this one, and the answer was rook e2, only move. Queen g8, of course, what else? Queen c8, trade all pieces. Rook a2, knight is hanging. We play knight d2. So it was the rook a2 thing at the end that I missed. I was just telling Samantha on the live lesson that you need to think about reducing the position to easier endgames all the time. So it makes sense. This is like just trade because the bishop and the rook look not very good. But actually, to me, with my like attacking sensibility, the rook and the bishop look perfectly fine. Although it is sort of a red flag that the bishop is hanging. Okay, so coming back to our next puzzle. They can't move the they can't move these pawns on the king side, but if I can't bring my king over to the queen side, I also can't win, I think, because if I ever take the pawn on h6 with the king, then they play g8 queen. That's a light square, so I can't arrange a nice defense of those things. And if I ever walk away, they play g8. So I have to get rid of these pawns. So I think I need to use this extra time to play the move bishop g5. And then come back to guard the pawn. Which should be possible. They can only attack the pawn from b5 and a4. And if my bishop is on g7, I can play bishop c3. And if my bishop is on h6, I can play bishop d2. So I think this is the answer. And of course I take this because I have to. They make a rook because apparently the computer has a sense of humor. And we win. Alright, nice. Moving on. I don't know they program computers to have a sense of humor these days. This looks like we trap the bishop. This is what I want to do. It could also be that we just run on a screaming rampage through the pawns, like allow bishop c4, knight e3, bishop b5, knight f5, king f6, knight h6, king g6, knight g4. We could maybe just take every pawn in the world by allowing bishop c4. So not necessarily so that we have to play king d3 or king c3 or knight e3. Those are all moves that guard c4. We might have something else, like king c2, which would prevent bishop b1. That might be useful. Yes, I think it might be king c2, because if they play a move like king f6, anticipating knight e3, when we play knight e3, then we're actually threatening king b2, and the bishop is trapped. Thank you for following Vapor T, or Vaport, however it's said. Virginia Port, something like that. Yeah, so I think it's this, actually. Now, why am I suspicious about king c3? The reason is that they can play bishop b1 and then bishop e4, and I think that looks good. Yeah, I take suggestions. I tend to ignore them for a while and then respond to the chat, and in the end I'll play whatever I think is good. But yeah, I'm totally happy to hear your input. It's kind of like a group study thing, so we can all attempt this puzzle, and I'll give feedback at intervals. Okay, so I think the answer for this one is king c2 already, to get many pawns. Oh, I was wrong. King c3 it is. How can this be? It's blasphemy. Oh, it's still trapped, because they can't go to this pawn endgame. Okay. This was silly. I was thinking king c2. Come at me, bro. You do this. I do this. I figured they'd go back here somewhere, and then I take. And if they want to ever see their d-pawn alive again, they will play a move like king d7. If they want to be an active boy, they can play king f6, but that runs into knight h6, and I thought this was probably winning. But, you know, I'm starting to have doubts. Yeah, I think they call this reasonable doubt. Okay, so that was I was a little excited there. So king c3 is good. I should have probably checked to see if bishop b1 is trapped, because the threat here is knight e3, I believe. Actually, no, here it's just knight d2, and then king b2. Alright, that was an easy puzzle waiting to happen that I botched. Not very good. Yeah, Vapor T, the reason that it wasn't knight e3 in the last one is that they could play bishop b1 immediately. So, once you've committed to knight e3, you don't have the knight d2 idea anymore. That is important in that line with bishop b1. Alright, now we have a pawn endgame. We have reached the endgame. What's it gonna be? So they want to play king e5 or king g5 or pawn takes f5. These are all their ideas. You could play pawn takes g6 to avoid, or we could play king f4. But king f4 allows pawn f5, and then I will have to babysit this pawn. So what should it be? I was thinking something like pawn takes, king f4. But then they play g5 check, king e4 only move to prevent king e5. And I'm wondering if they have like a fortress draw, because we don't have entry points on the queen side. We really do need to win on this king side. So if they can get the pawn to g5, I think it's a draw. They will make little crop circles. I too will make crop circles, like probably just go like that. I don't know. I don't have an entry point anymore at that stage. they can go between g6 and f6, preventing me always from going to f5. And it would be rash for me to play h4. Okay, so probably it's not takes and king f4, but it could be takes and h4. But then there's king e5. But then there's h5. Okay, so this is interesting. So we take h4, allow them to do the thing they want to do, but then we can play h5. So they have to take, and we're threatening h6, so they have to go back to f6. And now we can play king f4, and now we can enter through f5 to e6 to d7. That looks pretty good. Maybe it's important to be careful on the approach in case they play something like c5 with a breakaway tactic, but I really doubt that's going to happen. We are pretty close to promoting. So that seems encouraging. Take and h4. This is what I'm thinking about. Oh yeah, actually direct evidence that I shouldn't play a move like king f4 is that they can play g5 with check, and that has all the same problems as if I take and then play king f4. So I think it has to be pawn g6. Alright, and now h4. Okay, so we've seen this movie. And I take here. Okay, that was it. They have to chase the h pawn and we can get in on the queen side. That was actually pretty easy. Hey, they just took our bishop. That's rude. Don't they know that you're not allowed to take the coach's bishop? That's just not allowed. Anyway, could be knight b3. Oh man, it's almost time for work. That's annoying. So knight b3 is a thing. I see a queen. Queen in the sights. But at the same time, what's the material situation on the ground? They have a minor piece. Just the bishops that they captured recently. So if we play, for example, knight b3, king b1, because they don't want to be in check when I take this queen, they can take the rook. So now what they have is rook and bishop for queen. That's almost compensation. But I can just take the bishop, I think. And then when they take on d4, they still only have rook and bishop for a queen. Now, is it good enough? Maybe. They have some strong pawns rolling in the center, but their king doesn't look that safe. So that could be beneficial for black. It's hard to really just say no to winning the queen. I mean, what are we going to do? Take on g4? Allow them to play e6 or something? No, it seems ridiculous. So I think the first move should be knight b3. Alright, now if I have an in-between move here, that's nice. I think I should just take the queen, though. Like, nothing fancy. Are they trolling me? Like, this seems really easy. Their bishop's going to get away if I don't take it, so I have to take with the knight or the queen. Queen was my first thought, because then I could play something like queen c5 with some small initiative. Or maybe queen f5 check to, you know, start using those pieces. But, and knight takes is also kind of silly looking, because, like, what is the knight doing there? At the same time, would I rather rescue this knight or let this bishop live? Because I could rescue the knight. I could play knight b3, which allows bishop b7. Of course, what else? I think I should just take the bishop. Like, I really don't want to see that bishop live. Ugh, it was wrong. It was wrong. It was knight b3. It was not any of these moves. One second. Looks important. Oh, okay. Yeah, what is the move here? What's going on? I really don't want to play like knight f5. That just seems absurd. Do I have a mate threat that I'm missing? What do you guys see? I don't see anything here. Like, why not just take this bishop? I feel like an academic discussion is about to be underway about the merit of giving up this knight. Could I activate my other pieces more somehow? Like maybe f6? No. What is this? Riffraff and Jibba Jabba? Oh, really? The answer is just I want an extra pawn. Take this. And then I can take the bishop. Alright, that was kind of subtle for me. Like, why is it so important? We check the engine now. Okay. Yes, of course. Alright, so this queen takes c8 is slightly better for them. It's odd. So let's say I take this one. Apparently it's dead lost, so they go here. I do this. This messes up their pawn structure. Alright, let's say they don't take on d4. Let's say they, I don't know, I guess it's a powerful threat. Like, maybe something like this to avoid knight c3 memes. Like, they would rather take on, the engine would rather take on h4 than take this bishop. What is going on? What is so good about that? Alright, is there something wrong with, like, this move? Okay, I guess we just get a big attack by playing knight d5 and getting rid of this knight. Because that knight is going down somehow. Okay, maybe this is the takeaway. That, like, this is really the puzzle. Like, that first part is nothing. We're just winning the queen. But here we have to decide what we're gonna do with this knight on b6. I thought the knight on b6 looked fine. I didn't think the pawns were gonna be too big of a deal. Like, I had an idea to play f6. I wonder if f6 is good. So let's say I just do this. Oh no, bishop e6 check. I meant like a move later. So I was thinking this. They go here. What about f6? So ef6, queen f5. Yeah, this makes sense. They go like here, and we just take this. It says this is winning for white. That's really strange. So they go here. Let's say I do this. Yeah, I guess it's just whenever that d pawn gets rolling, white is much better. So it's important to get rid of it. This is probably the really important thing about this puzzle. Yeah, Vapor T. That's something kind of, yeah, I think it's similar to what's going on. It's a double passer because this e pawn isn't going anywhere, but the d pawn is really dangerous for sure. I think we just need to get rid of the d pawn. That's the whole puzzle. All right, I actually have to go do my real job. I think I'll do one more puzzle though. I'm gonna be a little late, but it's okay. Do I sacrifice on g6? Do they tempt me to sack a piece? Now, how do I presume? Let's say I go here, and they go. Actually, let me. Could I be so audacious as to play? All right, let's just pretend that I'm gonna do this one. They go here. I take it. They take it. I take it. I win the game. Easy. So the question is, which piece should I start with? What in-between move do they have that defies me? They take. They probably have something where King H7 is a thing. So let's pretend that I take like this, and this, and this, and then they play King H7. I think I'm doing well here. Like, knight takes, and if they don't play king takes h6, they lose, so I would play this. Knight h5, I guess. Queen g5. King h7. King takes. Yeah, this is just winning. Okay, so this is encouraging. If I play bishop takes, h takes, knight takes, then king h7 does not survive. So I don't think h takes is even good. So takes, king here. Definitely bad. Knight e5 wins the game. Queen g. Actually, that's mate. Okay, so that's not working. Maybe we take, oops, take, knight h5, and I have to worry maybe. Knight takes e7 check, king h8. That could be annoying, maybe. So I take, and knight h5. Just poems, thank you. Vapor tea, yeah, some kind of double sacrifice. I'm just wondering about the order, and yeah, I'm also curious about knight f7. My concern with knight f7 is that it's not as forcing, because like, I don't think they have to take it. I mean, maybe they do. Let me see. Let's just check, because that could be good too. Well, hold on, just so I don't forget where I was. I was looking at this knight h5 idea after bishop g6. Okay, so let's say I take this, right, just to get a look at it. Take with check. Pawn takes. The thing is, now their king is guarding g6. So where are we breaking through? I don't know. It would be nice to get the rooks into the game, but because they've played e6 and g6, it's a little tricky to get f5 in. If f5 is part of the formula, I'm probably doing it on move 1. But I'm not that confident that that's going to work. It just looks pretty slow in this case. Like e takes, bishop takes, you know, they can just trade a bunch of pieces. Meanwhile, I think g6 is kind of vulnerable. So I'm thinking about this and wondering about knight h5. Knight h5 is definitely a point of resistance, so I think I should just compare. I can come back to that later, but like, let's just see if taking with the knight first wins. So they go here, here, here. Threat is bishop to f7. I think it should be knight takes. Just gut feeling now. It looks very promising, because if they don't take it, they lose. I'm like 100% sure. If they take with the f pawn, then bishop takes should win.
If they take with the H pawn, then this looks even more winning. They don't have knight h5 or anything. All right, I think it's this. It was wrong. The curse. All right, so but what's the deal with knight h5? Oh, this is kind of funky. It's just queen g5, like. Oh, okay. So we eventually are gonna win the queen with the hunt on the king in this line. Knight h5 is definitely the top move. All right. So what's wrong with knight takes first? I thought this was super winning. Okay, king h8 makes sense to me, but I thought this was crushing. Like, I'm just gonna like take this. This is not as good as I thought it was. It says it's like plus 0.8, like white's better, but not by as much as the other one. That's kind of sad because I saw the other thing. Sergey, welcome. I don't know what you said, but I'm glad you're in the chat. Unfortunately, you know, I've started learning the characters, but I don't know what it means. Yeah, this one was pretty hard because, like, this happens to me a lot where I see all the lines where I'm like, well, not 100% of the line. Like, I didn't see that I should win the queen deep down the main line here. But like, I'll see all the main ideas and I just won't know which one is better, and then I'll just pick one based on, you know, whatever I feel. And oftentimes it'll be wrong. Sometimes it's right though. Okay, so I probably need to go do my real job. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'm gonna try to keeping on with my schedule, and I'll see you guys next time. And meanwhile, don't miss the recording of my recent lesson with Samantha. You can check that out on my YouTube channel. If you're on Twitch, you're not going to see it. You should go check it out on YouTube. Yeah, Vapor Tea, that's also troublesome. Like, there's just a lot of work to do when there's several lines. All right, take care, everyone. See you next time.